Happy New Year 2023. Let's have a brief chat and wrap up 2022 and talk about what 2023 will bring. This is ArtIsRight. Before we start, subscribe if you're new and hit on the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I upload cool new videos like this. So I'm filming this before New Year because I want to wish all of you a Happy New Year, and because I'm closing down the studios for a few weeks to take a break and spend time with family, and hopefully by 2023 I'll be refreshed and ready to go again. Don't worry though, in the meantime I will have videos that I have already filmed and edited, so you'll still continue to see me in January without any stop, without any pause whatsoever. We're still going to continue on our journey. So let's take a look back at 2022 before we take a look in the projection and what I think 2023 will bring. Looking back at 2022, I want to say a big thank you to all of you who have followed the channel, who have liked the video, who have commented, who have asked questions on the video. And particularly, I really love those questions because it shows a trend. If multiple people ask the same question or ask a similar type of question, that tells me that there is a lack of understanding in that area, and it may lend itself very well for a explanation video. So that really helps out a lot to curate the content as I go forward. And as always, I'm open to videos ideas as well. So if you have something that you want to share, something you want to see, if it's relevant and everything, I will add it to the list. So please feel free to share the ideas that you may have with me. If it's a video that I have already made, I will link those videos in reply to your comment. And I have been reading all the comments. It may be a little bit slower on some of the more popular videos, but I do get back to all the comments. So thank you to all of you. And this is also the year that we grew our channel as well. So 2022 is the year that we've crossed the 20,000 subscriber threshold, and we are now teetering on 30,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that little red button because it definitely helps me out a lot. The more subscriber I have, the more opportunity I can go out to companies and say like, hey, I want to review these products. Can we work together? So the higher number of subscribers, it makes it a lot easier for me to do that. If you can help that out for me, that would be fantastic and would greatly appreciate that. All right. So beyond that, 2022, what have we got? In terms of Mac, well, we have the Mac Studio, we have the M1 Ultra, and even just the M1 Ultra with 20 CPU, 48 core GPU, which is the one that I have right now. It's really been a fantastic machine, especially for raw files, because if you go through like a lot of events or weddings or anything like that, and you're trying to process those files fast, I mean, that machine is really breezing fast, and it consumes, much less power than the Intel Mac Pro that I have. Although Apple didn't release the Mac Pro in 2022, that's something that we're going to have to look forward to in 2023 and see how much better performance is, because I would still love an M1 Ultra chip inside a bigger chassis that I can put in external card without having to run the SSD card externally on the system right now. So having that internal would be something that I would look forward to. And I'm also very curious as well how Apple is going to implement all the PCIe expansion and everything. As far as like RAM goes, are they going to allow user to slot in and everything like that? I think that's going to be an interesting look at the way how they approach that design going forward. As far as other Mac goes, we got a chance to see the M2 Mac inside the MacBook Air with a total redesign. And I got one of those to have it to keep as my personal machine. And I really love that new MacBook Air M2 because, I mean, the design is really sleek. The power consumption is really awesome. The batteries just pretty much last forever. And truth be told, I carry both the 16-inch MacBook Pro and also the MacBook Air when I go on location, consulting and everything like that. But if I'm just doing, for example, a networking job where I don't require a lot of power, the MacBook Air tends to come out of the bag more than the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and that machine is heavy, but I mean, it's powerful. So when I'm doing photography and everything like that, I prefer to have more power. But when I'm not, when I'm just doing like network diagnostic or just looking at a file on the network or helping a client out, sometimes I just pull out the MacBook Air M2 instead. Now, talking about the M2 and comparing that to the M1, we start to see that the M2 is not quite the big leap from, for example, Intel to M1 as we have hoped, but that's perfectly fine because, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just going to scale up, and every generation is not going to take that big leap that we have seen when they announced this entire new architecture, and that's perfectly normal. I think it is something to be expected. Now, some of you have asked a question in 2022 whether you should get, for example, a MacBook Air M1 with 16 gigabytes of memory or a MacBook Air M2 with 16 gigabytes of memory, especially if you can find, for example, a great deal on an M1 with 16 gigabytes of memory Air. I would probably say you can definitely choose to go with the Air M1 because I have been running a lot of tests on Ventura on the latest Capture One and also Lightroom Classic, Lightroom as well. And pretty much they are within a margin. And when I say they're in a margin, they're pretty much within like about a minute or at the most like 2 minutes from each other. So the M2 are not that much faster compared to M1, especially if you give it like the memory and everything to run. Now, I won't get a chance to really do a full comprehensive video on that until probably after New Year. If I do, I'll leave a link below, but chances are most likely it'll probably come sometime in January or February, but that will give us a good idea as well. I know many of you already got the machine as a gift, and if you want the new design, then definitely M2 is the way to go. As far as display goes, we get a chance to see Apple Display, which is the Apple Studio display, the 27-inch 5K that has a built-in webcam and everything like that. And it introduces us to a new paradigm where Apple is now using the reference mode. These are considered Apple Pro displays and everything like that. And I have made extensive guide on how to calibrate those, how to use reference mode on those displays and everything like that, how to do a white point or a fine-tuned calibration. And I hope that you find those guide helpful because I think that's probably one of the more comprehensive guide on how to calibrate and work with those that you can find pretty much on the internet at this point in time. As far as BenQ goes, we didn't get any SW displays for hardware calibration. We got a few PD displays models. For example, we got the PD3205U and PD3205U. And I didn't have a chance to review the PD3205U yet because it has been really dragging along, but this has really been a busy year. So a quick recap for those of you who want to know, especially how that compares to the PD3220U, which is like the flagship PD line. Pretty much the way how you look at PD line displays are as follows. There's an entry-level PD and there's a top-level PD. Unlike BenQ SW displays that are pretty much even throughout the entire line where the specs are pretty much all the same, the only difference is the resolution. For PD line, there are some entry models and there are some that sits at the very high end. So if you want like P3 color coverage and everything like that, or a greater P3 color coverage in the 90-something%, I would definitely choose PD3220U instead of the PD3205U. Don't get me wrong, PD3205U has been calibrated really well from the factory, but can really only do 99% sRGB and Rec 709. So if your workflow is just pretty much in Rec 709 or sRGB, that may be the display you want to consider because it is a good entry-level budget display that you can choose from. But if you want the top of the line with all the bells and whistles, I would definitely choose the PD3220U. So that has been a recap of 2022. I'm sure there are certain things that I'm missing, but that's all I can think of right now. It's super late at night or in the morning. It's like around 4:30 a.m. where I'm filming this, so I am super tired, but we're gonna go with it. And yes, I will get some sleep, I promise. So anyway, in 2023, I think we're gonna see a Mac Pro. We're going to probably see maybe an upgrade to the Mac Studio, but I don't think that's going to come until like the end of the year. And for example, we're going to see the upgrade to the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M2 Pro and M2 Max. So that would be something that I would definitely look forward to. I'll probably be running some tests again. And at this point in time, I might end up starting Patreon or something like that just because getting these machines to test has been a rather costly endeavor, and a lot of my friends has been really awesome because, for example, they'll order a machine, I'll coordinate with them, and I get a chance to test their machine out for like about a week before I have to give them back to them. That's been really great. So a lot of friend search has been really awesome that way, and I also end up buying a few machines just to keep in the studio too, but that is a costly endeavor. So just stay tuned to the channel for that. I'll share with you any things that I come up with about that. As far as BenQ goes, I think this is probably the year that we're going to look forward to some new display release, or at least in the SW line. Fingers crossed, I hope that happens because in 2022 has been a rather quiet year. So I think that this year there's going to be something that are going to get released. I don't know what's going to happen, but to me, it just seems like it's an obvious, logical choice, and it's going to be exciting. So hopefully that will be the case. As far as Apple goes, we'll probably see 1 or 2 displays from them. Obviously, I'll do a review. I'll also talk about that as well. And what we haven't seen in 2022 is mini LED technology really taking over like mainstream display yet. And it's becoming more, I would say, like democratized in a way, or more prolific, where you're starting to see a little bit more mini LEDs in computer displays. So I hope that 2023 we're going to see a lot more models with that. And you know, to start us out on 2023, I want to share with you that I'll be at CES and I'll be definitely visiting BenQ setup there because they are launching in the US, their EX line. This is their EX480UZ. It is a 48-inch OLED display with 120 Hz refresh rate. So I definitely want to try that out. Based on some of the specs I've seen, it's supposed to have good color gamut coverage. And if you're a photographer looking for to use a large screen to do editing, 4K OLED, I mean, that may be something to consider. So I'll definitely have a review on that coming out, soon too, after I see the preview at CES. So that's something to definitely look forward to. And again, like I said, all the testings and everything and any reviews that comes up, I'll definitely be sharing with you as well. So, and as always, I'll continue to do my Palette Master Element video update as soon as they release something new, or if there's anything new that has to do with color management, I'll make sure to do a video on that as well so that we are all informed about how to get the best color possible. All right, so a few things I forgot to mention is that I'll be doing a few webinars with BenQ again this year, and I will post a link to them and also information for these webinars on my YouTube community tab and also on my Facebook page. And if I don't forget, I'll also do it on Instagram as well, because I have not been really active on Instagram, but I just want to share that with you. Additionally, I'll also be attending a few photo conferences in person too. So if you're at those conferences and you see me around, or if you stop by BenQ booth, most likely I'll be there. But if BenQ does not have a booth, chances I'll be walking around. Definitely just come tap on my shoulder, say hello. I would love to meet you in person and would like to connect with you. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me on my journey in 2022. For those of you that are new, for those of you that have followed me before, I greatly appreciate you. And let's continue on and have an amazing 2023. Thank you so much and Happy New Year. Like, subscribe, comment below, and as always, in art we trust. So Happy New Year, 2023. This is like 4:05 a.m. and I'm super tired. Yeah. Anyway.